be speaking about long-term lead exposure and telecommunication workers today. Okay, so lead has a lot of industrial purposes. Occupational exposure through inhalation is the major source of lead toxicity in adults. In clinical practice, we generally measure lead exposure via blood lead levels, and the problem is that these levels only indicate more recent exposure since the half-life of lead in blood is around 36 days. 90 to 95% of the total lead burden is contained within bone, and the half-life there is in the order of several decades. For reference, a blood lead level of 5 micrograms per deciliter or above is considered elevated, and chronic prolonged exposure at this level has been shown to have long-term neurologic, hematologic, cardiovascular, and renal side effects. While there's a lot of research on the effects of lead on different groups of workers, to our knowledge, there has been no prior study focusing on lead exposure in telecommunication workers. These workers are responsible for the installation, maintenance, repair, and replacement of cables and lines. There's approximately 177,000 telecommunication equipment and line installers in 2001. The Communication Workers of America, CWA, is the primary union that represents these workers. So we worked closely with the CWA union for this project. They had provided evidence of lead exposure in these workers through a non-systematic surveillance in the past, which had shown that 29.3% had elevated lead levels. Oh, oops. So for this particular pilot project, adult non-pregnant members of the CWA who were employed in removing, splicing, and laying telecommunication lines in New York City and who had been working in the past 30 days were officially eligible. And we worked closely with the union to recruit workers. So participants were recruited through email notices sent by union personnel, postings in the headquarters, and in-person meetings conducted by the union. We were provided a list of these interested members from the unions. All interested members were contacted and given more information, and those who wanted to participate were given an appointment time that was an hour long. We started early in the morning at 7 a.m. because we were working with workers. And as an additional incentive, the union compensated the participants for the day's wages. The study took place at Mount Sinai. So after consenting, the participants, they were given a lead exposure questionnaire, which they completed while they underwent XRF to measure tibia lead concentration. And I'll talk about both of those in a second. They were then escorted to the Silikoff Clinic. In the clinic, we measured vitals, did a full neurological exam, and drew labs to measure blood lead levels, BUN, and creatinine. So for the questionnaire, it focused on assessing telecommunications work history. So the types of tasks they do at their current job, how long they've been working, the amount of time for lead exposed tasks, any PPE that they wear. Also, we also asked about other sources of lead exposure. So hobbies that are associated with lead, such as ammunition, arts and crafts, and a complete occupational history. So all the jobs that they had previously held and duties at those jobs, time spent, a complete medical, surgical history, medications, general review of symptoms, and also conditions associated with lead exposure and any history of elevated lead levels that they may have had. To measure lead, K-shell XRF is a bone lead measurement is a measure of long-term lead exposure. Previous studies have validated that bone lead concentration can be considered a measure of cumulative lead exposure. So briefly, the way it works is that a source generates gamma rays to excite lead atoms in the bone. As the atoms de-excite, emitted X-rays are recorded and processed, which gives an energy distribution of recorded photons. And the number of X-rays is directly proportional to the amount of lead present in bone. And practically, when participants came in, they clean their leg and then they sit like the gentleman in the sample photograph is sitting for about 30 minutes when the measurement takes place. So most of about 85% or 17 of the workers were male, average age of 50. From the questionnaire, they reported that 15% had hypertension, 15% had anemia, 10% had gout. Not so much exposure in terms of hobbies they had participated in the past 3 months. A few 10% reported exposure to bullets via shooting or hunting, and 10% to home renovation. Most of these workers, so 95%, had the job title of cable splicer. They all worked, the years that they worked in this particular role ranged from 12 years to 32 years, but 75% had worked more than 16 years in their present occupation. 70% over the past 2 weeks reported that their primary job task was cable repair or splicing. 15% reported that their primary task was carding cables or cutting pipes. 45% worked in manholes or underground space over the past 2 weeks, and a few reported respirator use. 8 or 40% reported exposure to lead fumes, and 3 reported previous employment with lead exposure. So what we found was only 1 subject had elevated blood lead levels above 5, but we did find that the tibia lead concentration, the average was about 8.8 micrograms per grams of bone. Neurologic exam was normal, renal functions was normal as well. So in conclusion, in the sample of telecommunication workers, elevated tibia concentration suggested chronic lead exposure, although blood lead levels were notably normal, which suggests that current work protections may not be adequate. We also demonstrated the feasibility of doing a project such as this in a population of telecommunication workers in New York City. And as next steps, we're planning on hopefully expanding this pilot to other local union chapters in New York, as well as doing secondary analysis to look at further association between lead concentrations and occupational history. And thank you.